Hello, YouTube. Welcome back to Baldman Building an Airplane. This is part 10 of section 38. We have just completed drilling the rear window. And now it's time to take it out, find that I had cracked it, because I actually didn't notice it. I might have noticed it when I did the drilling in the previous video. It was like I think I might have heard that drill bit push through a little bit too hard on that those one or two holes. Yeah. So we have to mark this for trimming. What I'm doing here is I'm using some electrical tape as a guide, and that's going to be lined up almost exactly with the shim. Maybe overhang just a touch. The reason here is that the overhang between the shim and the front part of the roll bar is where the rear window and the canopy intersect each other. Oh, hey, there's a bunny in my yard. That happens a lot. So this is a preparation for final sizing. Since these were all match drilled to start with, what I'm doing is I'm using the two reamer setup that I talked about before. I first reamed them from 40 to 36, and then from 36 to 27. No, you know what? No, I did 36 to 30, and then 30 to 27. So a three-step process with the reamers to make sure we're not chipping any of these holes any worse than they already are. The interesting part about this is that basically there's some mixed guidance about where you can or can't use plastic drill bits. And I don't mean drill bits made of plastic. I mean drill bits made for drilling into plastic. The standard plastic drill bits have a lot pointier nose on them, pointier point on them. So that way, when you get in there, it doesn't like create chips. It just sort of like gradually creates like, I don't even know how you want to describe it. I don't know. Anyway, plastic drill bits. But they say that you shouldn't use a plastic drill bit on an existing hole. Well, then what are you supposed to do? Because if the hole was originally made with a smaller drill bit and you have to upsize it, what do? Well, that's why I got the reamers. I got the tapered reamers because they stay centered in the hole, and they also produce a very, very, very clean hole. And you can go relatively slow with them, not build up any heat, and do a good job. Anyway, I've talked way too long about that. Now it's a matter of sanding or cleaning up the front edge, bringing it down to size. I tried the card scraper, which makes a nice clean edge, but it doesn't take a lot of material off at first, so that's why I pulled the sandpaper out. So the instructions are like, okay, use the sandpaper, sand it with whatever grit, that's pretty harsh, and then come back and sand it with finer and finer and finer and finer sandpaper. The card scraper, cabinet scraper, whatever you want to do, call it, it's a woodworker's tool. It's basically a piece of flat metal that you put a burr on. There are plenty of videos on YouTube that describe how they work and how to sharpen them and whatnot. There was one random post in Vans, I think it was on Vans Air Force, and maybe it got into the plans, on the wiki plans, of like using a cabinet scraper, card scraper for buffing the edges. And I was like, yeah, whatever, I'll give it a try. Why not? It's a cheap tool. I like buying tools, so we'll give it a shot. I found that I absolutely loved it for cleaning up. No longer did I need to use finer and finer and finer grit sandpaper to get a clean edge on plexiglass. So let's talk about that now. So I'm using this card scraper to clean up the edge here. I want to show you how easily it works. So this just, you can kind of see that this is where I use the sanding block. What I wanted to do is I wanted to take off the manufacturing marks. I just wanted a nice smooth edge all the way around. So here's how it looks. You know, this is an after, this is before, but just a quick couple of swipes. Oops, wrong side. And here's what we're creating. These are our little shavings there. But then look at this. There's a couple little marks. Actually, no, that's just the spot where it was done. There you go. Super clean. Recommend using one of these. And you can find those anywhere on the internet. Cabinet scraper, card scraper. You can get a set of them, whatever. Again, highly recommend. All right, with that out of the way, I guess I'll step back 1 second. The reason I did that is not so I didn't sand the lower edge because it doesn't have anywhere to fit, and I didn't fully finish the front edge that goes on top of the roll bar. But the glass is cut from the factory, and there's some like manufacturing marks, I guess is the best way to put it, on there. It's they might be okay to leave, but the plans do call out like, hey, you want to make sure that you have a 45-degree chamfered edge on each of those edges, and then make sure it's nice and flat. So that's why they say, you know, sand it with progressively lighter sandpaper. So, all right, now as we do that, we have to upsize these holes to number 27 for a number 6 screw, and then dimple them, and then we will countersink the holes in the window. Yeah, but that doesn't exactly go as planned. I tried a couple of methods, and I saw this one that you could use like a grinding bit, and I think Andrew Kilborough used that, and I don't know. I didn't like the way it was turning out, so ended up passing on that for right now and ordering something on the phone. We're going to stop here because I don't like the finish on this hole. I was using a ground aluminum oxide like grinding bit that I ground 100-degree countersink. Don't really like the way that that's finishing the edges. It's okay, but it's not very nice all done. So I'm going to grab some 100-degree single flute or zero flute countersink bits from Granger and try again on Tuesday.